Good morning, and how are you today? I have a brilliant orange wine recipe for you here today. It's brilliant, it's tasty, it's cheap, it's thirst quenching, it's barbecue, summerish, it's light, it's delicious, it's fantastic. So let's get on with the recipe. I love wine recipes where they are simple and easy to make, and this orange wine recipe is just that. So, ingredients, what do we need for our orange wine? Obviously, the first thing is oranges. And this recipe calls for 6 big oranges or 8 medium oranges. That's about just under the kilo mark. When you're in your shop choosing them, give them a good squeeze, make sure they're nice and ripe and juicy. You want all that extra juiciness to come out in your orange. Fantastic. First things first, you want to chop your oranges in half. Some recipes out there do say to grate the skin off the orange and get the zest off. This isn't really needed. You can do it if you want to, but it doesn't add any extra flavour to the wine. It just simply adds more time to the recipe. Keep it simple, keep it effective, keep it real. So chop your oranges in half. This wine is brilliant for summers. If you make it now, it might be ready for the prime barbecue season. However, it is also fantastic for over Christmas. I like to have a roast duck for my Christmas Day dinner, and this orange wine complements it really, really well. So it's fantastic for those fatty meats. It's brilliant for duck and turkey and pork and roast beef dinners. The citrusiness of the orange wine really helps cleanse the palate from the fatty, rich meats. It's fantastic. With your oranges halved, you want to grab your big fermentation bucket. Now this recipe is for 1 gallon, 6 bottles of wine, and it's so easy to multiply the ingredients if you want to make a 5 gallon batch. Just times it by 5, everything you use. So you want to now have the pleasure of squeezing your halved oranges into the bucket. As you squeeze your oranges into the bucket, you also want to throw in the skin, the rind of the orange into the bucket. A lot of people think that the pith of an orange or a lemon will adversely affect the flavour of the wine. It will do if it's left in there for a long time. It will make it slightly bitter if it's left in there for months. But we are only going to leave the orange pith in the bucket for a week tops. 5 days, 7 days. That is all it's going to be in there, and it won't have any adverse effects. Next thing you want to add to your bucket is the juice of 1 lemon. I have half here and a quarter there because I had a gin and tonic last night and I couldn't resist. So add as much lemon juice as you like, about the juice of 1 full lemon. If you have a sneaky gin and tonic, I won't tell anyone. So squeeze your lemon into your bucket. Oh, happy, happy days. This is smelling brilliant. Anyway, next thing you want to add is 1 kilo and a quarter. So 1,125 grams of sugar, of your granulated sugar. I wouldn't use brewing sugar for this recipe because you want that added sweetness to impart into your wine. So grab your sugar and pour it straight in. Now, this wine will come out to be at about 14.5%. You could add more sugar to boost up the alcohol content. However, I find that the alcohol, if it goes above that level, will start to have an adverse effect on the flavour of the wine. It's detrimental to the gentle citrusy flavour. You don't want to be having that alcohol burn taking away the flavour of the delicious orange citrusiness. With that sugar added to your oranges and that lemon, you want to add 1 cup of tea, because that tea will add the tannins that the oranges don't have and just add a bit more body and mouth feel to the wine. It really enhances the flavour and overall drinkable abilitiness of the wine. I love that word, drinkable abilitiness. It sums up all good wines. Anyway, pour in your cup of tea, tea bag included, into your fermenter. And pour over 1 gallon's worth of cold water. You can use warm water if you want to use warm water. it makes no difference in this recipe which you use. So personally, I have cold water here, so I'm going to use cold water. No point heating up water for the sake of it cooling down. So give that a good pour over your oranges. And then the thing that makes the wine compared to orange juice, your yeast. I'm using Cross My Loof sparkling wine yeast because I'm running a bit short on yeast at the moment. Any yeast will work wonders with this wine. So I'm just using up some old supply of yeast, and I have more coming in the post. So add your favourite yeast, add any yeast. It makes very little difference what type of yeast you use. I know Cross My Loof do an orange wine yeast, which would probably work really well to enhance those citrusy orange flavours and aromas. But I don't have any. If I had some, I would use that. So I'm just adding a sparkling wine yeast. Don't worry, this won't be sparkling. So pour in your sachet or teaspoonful of yeast to the mix. Place on your lid and give it a really good shake. Get that sugar dissolved and working in with the oranges, and get some oxygen into the bucket, into that liquid, so that the yeast can have a really good party. And shake away, baby. And that is stage 1, done, dusted, complete. You want to set your fermenter aside in a warm place so the yeast can have a really good party for a week. Let it stand, let the oranges become, let those flavours with that tea, the yeast, the lemon, the orange, get to work and do their thing. So I'm going to disappear for a week, and I'll be right back in a second now. And welcome back. Great to see you again. Our orange wine has been stood fermenting in the big bucket for a week now. It is looking and smelling delicious and sublime. It is perfect. It's bubbling away. It is becoming brilliant. So today's job is to decant it and siphon it from the fermentation bucket into a clean, sterilised, sanitised demijohn that I've just prepared earlier. So we need to siphon it from the fermentation bucket into the demijohn and get all that lovely, fantastic orangey juice into the demijohn. The aroma coming off the bucket is brilliant. It's orangey, it's fresh, it's citrusy, it bites through the nose and really, I can't wait to try this wine. You want to follow the typical wine method, setting this wine aside in a warm place and just let it ferment. Once it's fully fermented, it will start to clear and it will throw a sediment on the bottom. That's all the dead yeast and particles falling out from the liquid, and they will just gather in the bottom of the demijohn. Then you want to rack the juice and the liquid off the sediment into a clean demijohn. Then set it aside and let it mature. As for how long this process takes, it's anyone's guess. It depends on so many variables and factors. Your temperature, the ingredients used, the types of yeast, types of orange. And wines will age more quickly if they are left in a demijohn so they can bulk mature. And we're nearly there. Then once it's mature and once you're happy with it, have a few little tastes. You can bottle, set aside and drink it at your pleasure. Really, really enjoy it. This is a cracking wine to make, and I really suggest you make this wine. It's nearly done, it's filling up. And there we have it, 1 gallon of brilliant orange wine. I really can't wait to drink this gallon, and I will do a taste test when I do. So all we need to do now is put an airlock in, with a bit of glycerin in, or water, or whatever you fancy, set it aside, and then just follow what I've just said. So if you've enjoyed this video, give me a like down below, and also, why don't you check out this video up by here for another orange wine recipe. And I will see you all really soon. You have fun now. That is good.